All right, whether you're running a club or you're just a player gearing up for the season in Sweden, you need to know about the new 2026 regulations. There are some really important changes and details in here, so let's break it all down piece by piece so you and your team are ready to hit the ground running. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of rules, fines, and all that, the regulations start with something fundamental. It's this idea of the spirit of cricket. Think of it as the golden rule for the entire sport. It's the foundation of fair play that everything else we're about to talk about is built on. So let's start right there with those core principles. This is basically what's expected from every single person who steps onto that field. And it all boils down to one simple thing: respect. Respect for everyone, your teammates, your opponents, and especially the umpires. It's about keeping your cool even when a call goes against you, and making sure the game is played in a positive way. Remember this foundation as we dig into the more technical stuff. Okay, enough philosophy, let's get practical. Let's talk spreadsheets and calendars. Getting your club signed up for the season involves some really strict deadlines that you just cannot afford to miss. So first up, you've got your registration window from January 15th to the 31st. Easy enough. Then the full schedule comes out on February 28th. But here it is, the big one. Circle March 15th on your calendar. That is your payment deadline. If you miss it, you get a little grace period until April 1st, but you're going to have to pay double. And if you miss that second date, that's it. Your team is out of the league. No kidding, no exceptions. All right, so you've registered, you've paid your fees, you're officially in. But what are you actually playing for? Let's take a look at how the league is set up, especially how you can climb the ladder or fall off it. Here's a look at the 40-over league system. At the very top, you've got the Allsvenskan. That's the Premier Division. See those red arrows? That's the danger zone. Teams at the bottom facing relegation. But below them in the Superettan, you've got the green arrows. And that's the dream, right? Promotion, a shot at the top flight. It's a classic setup that makes every single game matter. And you're not just playing one type of cricket. The top two divisions, Allsvenskan and Superettan, both have 40-over and T20 competitions. But look closely, there's a key difference. The Allsvenskan T20 is a national tournament, while the Superettan T20 is split into regions. Go down to Division 1, and the long format gets a bit shorter, down to 30 overs. And then you've got the really fast-paced stuff, the T10 format, which is only for the Swedish Cup. Okay, listen up, because this next section is where clubs get into trouble all the time. Player eligibility. Getting this right can be the difference between a championship season and one filled with fines and penalties. So the big question, can you bring in a player from another country? The answer is yes, but the rules are incredibly strict. For starters, they can't have played in any other league anywhere during the same Swedish season. And here's the absolute killer detail. They have to be fully registered with a passport uploaded at least 10 days before their first game. That 10-day window, it's not flexible. And what happens if you get this wrong? Well, if you place someone who isn't eligible, the penalties start with a fine. A 1,000 kroner fine to be exact, but trust me, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, the money hurts, but this is the real killer, the points deduction. Let's say you won the match with that ineligible player. Well, you lose the 2 points you just won. And on top of that, you get another 2 points taken away as a penalty. That's a 4-point swing against you. A single mistake like that can absolutely wreck your season. All right, here's a classic dilemma for any club that has more than one team. You've got a massive game for your second 11, and a few of your star players from the first team are free. Can they play? Well, the short answer is yes, but the long answer involves some very, very specific rules. These rules exist for a good reason, to stop clubs from stacking their lower division teams with elite players. So here's the deal. You can only bring down 2 players, and they have to have played in the first team's most recent match. And even then, their role is limited. They can't bowl until after the halfway point of the innings, and they can't bat any higher than number 7. Okay, let's move into our final section. And it's a serious one. We started this whole thing talking about the spirit of cricket. Well, this is what happens when that spirit that's broken. Let's get into the official code of conduct and the penalties. The system is broken down into levels. For a level 1 offense, arguing a decision, using some bad language, your team gets 1 official warning. That's it. If it happens again, the other team is awarded 5 penalty runs. But check out the jump to level 2. The key word here is serious. We're talking about serious dissent or seriously insulting language. For these, there is no warning. It goes straight to a 5-run penalty. And then you have level 3. This is where things get really bad. We've moved way beyond arguing a call and into the territory of direct threats. As the rulebook itself says, just threatening to assault someone is an automatic level 3 offense. The on-field penalty for that is huge. On top of the 5-run penalty, the player who made the threat is immediately taken off the field for 10 overs. They can't be replaced. Your team has to play a man down for a huge chunk of the game. And finally, there's level 4. This is reserved for the absolute worst of the worst offenses. We're talking about actual physical assault or threatening someone with your bat. And the penalty is exactly what it looks like. The umpire shows a red card, and that player is ejected from the game. Permanently. They're done. It is the most severe punishment in cricket. So there you have it, from the highest ideals of fair play down to the strict letter of the law. These rules are all here to make sure Swedish cricket stays competitive, fair, and safe. But, knowing the rules is one thing. Actually living by them, on the field, under pressure, is something else entirely. So the real question for you is, now that you know what's on the line, are you really ready for 2026?